Well, hello there and welcome back. This is episode 34 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm in the end and I'm about to finish up what has been easily the most successful end raid I have ever done. So I have just over 8 stacks of shulker shells. That's a decent amount of shulker shells. Good number of ender chests as well. And I had to keep my elytra in a separate shulker box that is almost entirely full. So this has been an impressive run. I wanted to briefly revisit the gold farm that I built in the last episode. I did some long-term testing in creative and found that while the rates do drop somewhat significantly over time, they're actually still quite high. For comparison, my old gold farm generated 10,000 gold nuggets per hour, which is about 123 blocks of gold. As a baseline for this new gold farm, after 15 minutes it was generating over 9,000 nuggets and over 400 ingots, so that is 159 blocks, a significant improvement. After an hour of running it, it dropped slightly, still over 9,000 nuggets and over 400 ingots, but we're now down to 155 blocks. After 3 hours, we start to see some more significant drops. We're down to 8,600 nuggets and just under 400 ingots for 149 blocks. And then after 9 hours, we're down under 8,000 nuggets and 380 ingots, but we're still at 141 blocks per hour. And at this point, there's a significant number of zombies and pigmen that are stuck in the machine. You'd expect the drop to be more significant than this, but it's still performing better than my old gold farm. I did have a few ideas on how I can improve the rates of this farm. For example, I could replace all the glass blocks with magma blocks, and that would kill most of the zombies and the chickens, and I'd have less problems. But that's a lot of effort, and for the amount that I'd be gaining, I just don't think it's worth the effort. It would actually be less effort to just smelt down all the swords if I really needed gold that badly, and honestly, I don't think I do. The truth is, I'll actually be getting significantly more gold just simply because I'll be coming here to get XP from time to time. So I'm actually really happy with this farm, and I think I'm going to leave it as is for now. Unless I come up with an easy solution, I think this is fine. I've mentioned recently that I'd like to set up a brown mushroom farm. So this is a variant of Ilmango's design, and what I've done is I've placed 2 of them next to each other and then stacked them, and that makes it a little more tower-like so it matches up with my other buildings a little better. And you can see we've got a minecart, and this is sent out every 4 minutes. There's a clock down here to collect all the items, but this farm, even for how big it is slow. So if I go and look at the counter, we're getting slightly less than a stack of brown mushrooms per hour and half a stack of red mushrooms. You have to have the red mushrooms. You can only have 4 of any type of mushroom in a row. So in order to make it this wide, I had to add red mushrooms as well. I don't really even need the red mushrooms. I don't even really want the red mushrooms, but they're kind of a required aspect of this style of farm. So yeah, a stack per hour. I'm sure that would be fine. I mean, I really only need a couple stacks, and like if I got a shulker box full, which wouldn't be hard, I could just set this in my base, and then that would eventually, I'd have a whole bunch of mushrooms. But I had another idea. This is another brown mushroom farm by Ilmango, but this is a very different type of brown mushroom farm. This one uses bone meal on the small brown mushrooms to generate a large brown mushroom, and then it uses pistons to push them into a single file line, and then they're sent over into a TNT blast chamber. The world download for this farm, which was made back in like 2018, came with his old TNT blast chamber, but he's released this blast chamber earlier this year, and I've been trying to try it ever since he has. So this brown mushroom farm generates about 3,500 items per hour. Now that is complete overkill, but the reason why I'm excited for this design is because I can attach this blast chamber to several different things. So I can hook up a concrete maker to it, can hook up a cobblestone generator to it, can hook up a tree farm to it, and so I'm excited at the possibility. Now I do have a limited amount of space in my base, and this is kind of big, and the tree farm is going to be kind of big. The cobblestone generator and concrete maker shouldn't be too big, and I can probably put this underground and then bring the items back up. So I think this is something, hopefully I don't have to move my nether wart farm. I will if I have to, but I think I could probably figure out a way to fit all those things together into one building. And I think that would be really, really cool. There's a lot going on here. So I measured my island and I got about a 40 by 40 space to work with. So that's this box down here, and then I need a couple of blocks to do the facade of the building, so I've marked that out as well so that I don't go over that, although I have gone over that over here by a couple of blocks. This is extending out, but I think I can work with this all right. Over here, we've got Ilmango's latest universal tree farm. This thing takes up half of the space all by itself. It is quite a bit bigger than my old tree farm, but it's got some nice benefits. Like it's got a sapling sorter over here. It's got a shulker box unloader for the bone meal. I'm actually pretty sure it's faster than my old tree farm. So it's going to be a nice little addition to have this, even though I don't really need it to be faster. I've got quite a bit of wood right now. And then to the right over here, we've got the mushroom farm that I showed before. I did not mention that I had to make a change. I'm not sure if it's a version difference or something, but I was getting mushrooms that were 5 tall, so they were growing all the way up to there. And I fixed that just by placing a single block of obsidian right over the root right here. It does slow it down a little bit, but this is still much faster than I need, so I'm not super worried about that. But so we've got the mushroom farm over here. And then right underneath here is a cobblestone generator. This is another design by Ilmango. So there it is right there. It's a super fast cobblestone generator. I decided there's no reason it really needs to be up here, so I just kind of built it underneath the platform, and then I moved the switch all the way up here so that I would come here and I would turn it on and off right here, and there's a light to tell that it's on, because you can't run more than one of these machines at once. So it would be very bad if this were on and you started using something else, because these chains are not designed to handle 2 inputs at once. But you can see it's quite a fast cobblestone generator. And then back over here, we've got a concrete maker. This is a really simple design that I came up with myself. Ilmango has his own design for a concrete maker, but this one doesn't require an on-off switch. You just kind of place blocks and it operates on its own. So this works based on a zero-tick smart piston. This was a design by Mizuma Gamings that Ilmango posted on one of his videos. Really, any zero-tick smart piston would work, but I liked this one because it doesn't have an exposed redstone torch or comparator. Instead, the note block is what triggers off the smart piston, so it's nice and enclosed. And then I just ran a redstone stream down to a dropper down there so that it would spit out items for you, so that you would keep going. You're not limited to just one inventory. And this actually works with multiple colors as well, so there's a bunch of colors in here. So you would just start with 2 in your inventory of an item, and so you would start with 2 items in your inventory, and your inventory would be full. And if you do that, it's actually really fast, and you can do multiple color streams. It works really, really well. And then the chains of the blocks eventually have to all flow together. So the mushrooms and the concrete meet right here, and then they flow down. And then they would come over this way and come over this way. This is where they meet the concrete maker. And then they come over a little bit further. This is where they meet the wood from the tree farm. And then they come down and they feed all into the blast chamber. This again is Ilmango's design. This is a blast chamber I was talking about. It's working really well. And I do have plenty of room underneath the building. I checked that out as well, so I shouldn't have any trouble there. And then I will have to figure out some way to get the items, just a water stream, bring all the items all the way back up here. So then the next thing I need to do is I need to set up the design for this building, because the design of the building may affect the placement a little bit. So before I actually start building it, I want to make sure that I've got the outside of the building all set up and figured out. Now I do really like how this building turned out, so I want to try and reuse this design concept if possible. Although I am losing this building, I do think I want to keep this design around. I'm not going to do any kind of sorting on the blast chamber output. It's just too much effort to try and sort out 16 different colors of concrete and 5 different types of wood and cobblestone and mushrooms, and I don't think there's that much to be gained from that. I have this shulker box wall kind of design in my tree farm, and that worked pretty well for me. However, I was testing this out and this is not fast enough, so instead I had to come up with this design right here, which is just a double speed, so it's loading from both the side and the back. And this hopper right here, so if you fed this from a water stream, it would feed in the items very quickly, and then it would spit them out both to the side and down. So the items would actually go into both sides, so it would load them twice as fast. Now this works, but the problem with Shulkerbox walls is that you end up with a lot of items stuck in the hoppers, and when you've got this double speed design, you actually end up with twice as many items stuck in the hoppers. So that's when I came up with this Shulkerbox loading system right here. So this system is designed so that you actually have access to the Shulkerbox, so that when you're done using the farm, you're not stuck with a half a Shulkerbox full of items that you don't have access to. Instead, you can actually get in there, take the items out, and even crack the Shulkerbox and take it with you if you want. Now right now, it's loaded up with mostly full Shulkerboxes, just so that you can see it operating it really quickly. But if we look in here, you can actually see that it's loading the Shulkerbox at double speed. So on the back here, we've got hoppers going into both the back and the side of the Shulkerbox. So this is also a double speed Shulkerbox loader. So it should be able to keep up with my farm quite easily. And then there's comparators on the hoppers and not the Shulkerbox itself. So it will actually handle mixed items. It doesn't matter if it's all one item or if it's a bunch of different type of items. It will work the same regardless. And then if we go over onto this side, the dispenser here is actually based on the hopper underneath, so it waits for it to actually, the Shulkerbox to go through that hopper, and then it'll dispense another one. So if you actually use a pickaxe, I'm in creative so I can't, but if you use a pickaxe and crack the Shulkerbox, it'll just automatically dispense another Shulkerbox for you. So I think this is a pretty cool system, and I think this is what I want to use for my farm. I'll put a Litematica template in the description, and this is a fairly specialized Shulkerbox loader, but if anybody's interested, I can do a tutorial in the future if people want. I've also been running into a problem with this cobblestone generator. I think it's actually too fast, and if I run it for too long, it'll actually jam up the blast chamber down here, and when that happens, that is actually really bad. So I think, unfortunately, I might need to run this at half speed, which I can do fairly easily by just removing one of these two sides, and then only one of the sides will run at a time. It's still pretty fast, and since it's basically just free cobblestone, I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I'd rather have that than having to fix this every so often, because it's really difficult to have to fix this if something goes wrong. I'd much rather just have the slower cobblestone. I think this will be fine. Alright, I've got everything all laid out for the new building, so now it's time to tear this old one down. A little sad to see it go. Kind of a different strategy for taking down the building there. I think I actually made more work for myself and wasted a bunch of items, but it was a lot of fun. On the downside, however, I blew up some of that tree there right there. But this tree over here, the one I don't even want, no damage whatsoever. Right next to the building, no damage. But the one I actually like, I blew up. Huh. I guess I'll start with the blast chamber itself, which will actually start way down here. Alright, so that seems to work pretty well. So the next thing I want to set up is the concrete maker, because it's super simple and it will help me get enough concrete to make the rest of this machine. So the smart piston setup right here is really just these 5 blocks. So this is working right here just That's all there is to it. And then we want to have a dropper that feeds me items so that I can keep going, so I don't have to be limited to just one stack. So all I got to do is run a redstone signal down from this solid block right here, and then just run it straight into the dropper. And so that part should work right there. So if I put in, I guess there's already items in there. So it should dispense out an item when I do that. So that's great. And then we want to feed this thing with some hoppers. And we actually want 2 chains of hoppers here. If I can get at there. Like so. Because we want the items to come in. We're going to be using them really fast. We want them to come in really fast. So let me get rid of these 2 chests right here. I'll just put hoppers in underneath them. And then we can put those 2 chests back. And then that's all there is to that. And then we're going to be using concrete powder. So we're going to want a solid block underneath there. A couple more solid blocks right here. And then we're going to want to set up a water source. So we need a block down there, block over here. So just kind of surround it with water. This one block is going to get pushed out of the way, but that's fine. We just need to make sure that the water's not running all over the place when we do this. So there we go, water source. And then if I stand here and I got some concrete powder, should replenish my concrete powder as I go. There we go. I'm going to hit the push limit. But that seems to be working. So now let me set up the smart pistons that'll move the item stream down into this blast chamber and do another test. So far so good, so I guess it's time to set up the mushroom farm. This one's a bit scary. I know from creative testing that if you get this thing wrong, it basically pushes the mushroom into all these blocks I'm standing on right here, and it basically just slags the whole machine. And then if you don't fix it right, it just does the same thing over again. And I had that happen in creative at least a dozen times. So let's hope we got this right on the first try. Guess we'll find out right now. It's a good sign, and it just stopped. I guess that's better than a complete failure. There's a slab that's supposed to go right here to power these 2 pistons. You can kind of see that the mushroom stalk right there is still in there. I swear I put that there and I checked on it, but I must have accidentally pickaxed it or something. But it's not there now, so it didn't complete the pushing the stem out of the way. I'm not sure. I'll probably have to mine all this and try again. Alright, here goes nothing. Part 2. See if we can get a look at it. Now it's not growing. Oh, these pistons are out in the way now. Another thing to fix. Alright, attempt number 3. Let's see if... Oh, that one went right away. Did it... It's still the same thing. It moved the whole stem out of the way this time, but there's something else missing. Looks like I missed a repeater right here, so that does that. Alright, fingers crossed. Alright, that's what we want to see. Oh, so cool. There it goes. I can do another one. Very cool. I'd like to get this video out, but I think I still have time to make the cobblestone generator. It's not too complicated, but I think the tree farm is going to have to wait for the next episode. Alright, I think that'll do it. Let's find out. That piston back there isn't firing, it looks like. Forgot to put these rails back here. That should do it. Let's find out. There we go. Again, only one side's operating. Oh, something... It still didn't... That's weird. Oh. I didn't set up the block mover right that goes right there. I think that should do the trick. Let's give this another go. There it goes. Yeah, looks like everything's working right. Fantastic. We should be able to see the shulker box working. So it is loading at double speed, and once it gets full, it's got to load up these hoppers a little bit so that those comparators fire off. But shortly, it should push the shulker box out of the way, dispense another one. That's very cool. And then if I crack this with a pickaxe, it should just dispense another one for me. So yeah, that's very cool. It's funny how this game works sometimes. My plan was to build that small mushroom farm, and then I had a couple other ideas on things I might want to do for the episode, and I ended up getting completely sidetracked by this monstrosity. But I've had a lot of fun building it so far. I hope you enjoyed watching it as well. I want to thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good one.